Welcome to the Adam Rothstein Hockey Podcast. This is your podcast for all things hockey. On this podcast, we talk about past history to the modern day and what you can do to grow the sport. I am your host, Adam Rothstein. All right, let's get to the show. And one. Okay, and welcome back to the Adam Rothstein Hockey Podcast. With me today is Brad Ledwith. Brad, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic, Adam. Thanks for the vine. I love coming into these programs. This is awesome.
Perfect. All right, so tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm a financial advisor turned into an executive producer of a documentary called The Mighty Oaks. And I say that it came from a short hobby of mine, which was getting involved in my kids' sports and their youth sports. And so
I didn't get that.
and that's really what I'm at.
I didn't get that last part. Did you mute your mic by any chance?
No, but it looked like you muted yours. So I don't know if you want to start over or if you want to keep going. It's up to you.
Uh, um, just repeat that the last part for me.
Yeah. Uh, I have four kids. I'm married 25 years, and I love coaching my kids' sports.
Nice. Specifically lacrosse.
Yes.
Okay. Just making sure. So why lacrosse and not hockey?
Oh, well, we are here in California. I'm born and raised in San Diego, where it is 350 days a year of sunshine. I live in San Jose area now, Morgan Hill, California, which is virtually the same thing. We have the San Jose Sharks, and I truly became a lacrosse fan primarily because my kids. I put them in roller hockey, I put them in ice hockey, and if you don't have the outdoor play of an ice rink, and you're always paying to play something, it's a lot harder to get good at it.
Of course. I've talked about affordability here on the podcast and how it's
Yeah,
becoming more expensive, and you have
yeah.
$60,000 a year potentially for AAA players, and when you really can get good, it's like $60,000 a year. Most Americans don't make that much per individual. So how are you supposed to afford that?
Yeah. I think the best part about lacrosse, and as far as youth are concerned, is you get a stick and you get a wall and you get a ball and you can throw that thing against the wall and get better. You don't need ice. You don't need, goals per se. You can get better just by playing in the backyard. And I think that obviously travel sports, youth travel sports, you can spend a small fortune on your kids' sports. That's part of why I built the Mighty Oaks was from a youth rec team. I wanted to be able to provide this at a reasonable cost and teach sports through the sport of lacrosse.
Is lacrosse expensive for youth, or is it cheaper than most, would you say?
Well, I think that it's interesting. I played baseball growing up, so today you got $500 bats and $1,000 baseball gloves and $600 cleats. I mean, obviously, back in the day, my dad did not spend that kind of money. You had three bats for the whole team. You had a glove that you probably your grandfather had, and you either wore tennis shoes or you got cleats at Big Five, the local sporting goods store. That being said, in lacrosse right now, I think that it's probably just as expensive as, some of the other sports that, are out there, but not nearly what hockey is. So, you've got shoulder pads that probably run about $125. The helmet at $300 is probably the most expensive. and then the cleats and everything else. But the shaft and the stick somewhere about 100 $150.
Yeah, so I do think it is a little bit cheaper. Also, you're not paying for ice time, and the
That's the big
skates
thing. Exactly. Yeah.
my last pair was $350 plus, and that came down with a store discount because I was on good terms with um the owners too. But
Yes,
still,
exactly.
350 clams for one pair.
Yeah,
Um,
and you take that for youth, and they're going to be growing out of them in a year later. I mean, come on.
it, but cleats actually have more versatility. They could be used for
Yeah,
soccer, lacrosse, baseball,
baseball,
and
all of it. Yes.
and and I had what was at the time at 12 years old soccer cleats, but I used them for baseball.
Yep.
But it,
Same
it
here.
just made it easier for me
That's right. And they fit good,
personally.
right?
Yeah. Um, so your documentary,
Yeah.
tell me all about that.
Well, I'm so glad I get to talk to your listeners. I know you're in Maryland, right?
Yeah, that's right. I moved
So
back.
you're in the hotbed of lacrosse in Maryland. I don't know what part of Maryland, but the whole state is crazy lacrosse.
Frederick.
And Fred, perfect. I mean, it's right in the heartbeat of it. Um, I grew up, like I said, in Southern California, and this documentary, The Mighty Oaks, tells the story of me trying to create a program from nothing and just trying to get my kids excited. And so what happened was I put them in all the different sports, baseball, hockey, soccer. And hey, how was it? They'd come home and, oh, it was okay. It was okay. I put them in lacrosse camp. They're like, Dad, that was the most amazing thing I've ever done. And I'm like, okay, that's the passion I wanted to see. But I didn't want to drive 35 minutes to practice. So I said, oh, well, you know what I'll do is I'll just YouTube how to coach lacrosse. And that's what we have out here in California. We don't have a lot of coaches that have played the game at any level. So what happened was is I said to all my friends that were playing baseball, I said, let's go try this lacrosse thing out. I'll YouTube it and we'll figure out how to teach it. Well, the day before our first practice, my buddy goes, hey, I think I have a neighbor that played professional lacrosse. And sure enough, he played for the San Jose Stealth. And I asked him, I said, hey, can you help us with this lacrosse thing? He goes, of course. And that was what the start of it was, is I started to build this program so that my kids could have people to play with. And we lost a lot of games. And the documentary shows how we were terrible. And for 3 years, we didn't win a game. And then all of a sudden, we won. And the tides turned, and it was fantastic. And then we said, oh, what are we going to do next? And we said, oh, well, we got to get it in the high schools. Well, we had a challenge, Adam, and the challenge was the teacher's contract in our school district said you couldn't add a sport without eliminating one. So imagine if you're the athletic director trying to add a sport and you have to eliminate like girls tennis or girls water polo or something else. There just wasn't going to happen. So we had to kind of work with the teachers and the administrators to change the language in the contract so that we could get boys and girls lacrosse at our high school. And we did. And it happened. It took a couple years. And before you know it, we had a coach and we're just trying to get this thing going. And the story of the Mighty Oaks kind of starts in 2024 of our championship season. And these kids that lost every game for 3 years now are trying to compete for a championship. And it tells the stories of how we got there, the personalities behind it, as well as I think that people that enjoy sports, sounds like that's the kind of crew that we're talking to, Adam, are going to love this movie. And as you know, I always say the same thing. Lacrosse is the five sports we all love. It's the contact of football, it's the hand-eye coordination of hockey, it's the moving without the ball of basketball, it's the fitness of soccer, and it's the true accuracy of baseball. So you take those five sports, put it in together with one sport, and you've got something that people just love. And that's what the movie's really about.
Of course. What sport was eliminated from your high
None. We
school?
we
Oh,
changed the language. That was the whole thing. You imagine being an athletic director. You're not going to change. You're not going to cancel out a sport. So we would change the language that we were allowed to add a sport, and we had boys and girls lacrosse. in our school district.
I'll tell you one thing about that. Like you, there would have been an uproar if you had to eliminate
Oh,
lacrosse. If
exactly.
now, now, now in my high school, back when the 2011 2012 season, you had it cost $1,100 for everything. Like, and that was just for one player, and we didn't. There's no public funding for us. We
Yeah.
paid that out of pocket. We went to Cabin John Ice Arena because I went to Walter Johnson High School, and $1,100 too, and it was a club sport. We had one girl on the team, and and it is difficult to get to too. And just having that support, or having your sport uh as part of your actual athletic club, is just beneficial to so many students and kids for their future development, whether or not they do go on and play
Yeah.
a college sport like I
Yeah.
do.
And it's interesting, Adam, because they offered us to have a club sport. And I was like, no. I said, I know what club sports happen is that some guy gets it going, then it stops. And I was like, no, if we get it in the high school, then it will continue on and it will fulfill itself over time.
And absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. um Talked about the expenses of lacrosse and hockey.
Yeah.
So the overall community of Morgan Hill, California, was that it was not always a lacrosse town. Was it a baseball town at one point, or was it?
Yeah. I think that, our community, when I moved here in 1998, was probably about 30,000 people total. We were definitely a baseball community, and we had a really, really tight group of individuals that helped out. We also have a basketball community, so it's a really cool rec program that we put together. And I kind of mirrored our program in lacrosse after the basketball program, which is let's open it up, let's get everybody in a chance to play, and we'll see what we can do. And that's what happened. We started, working with lots of different people, and ultimately found a lot of volunteers because the kids loved it. And we were playing, a game that none of us knew about, so it was hard to coach. But at the same time, the kids just had freedom to do whatever they wanted to do, make mistakes, try to, if they dropped a ball or they failed, there's nobody sitting there saying, you struck out, or you didn't swing, or you didn't throw the ball the right way. And it was truly a different animal from the parents' point of view. None of us out here in California knew anything about lacrosse. And I had to bring people in all the time to coach and teach and understand the game.
Of course. And when I first started ice hockey when I was 12 years old, and I was starting late because either friends of mine had already established when they were, 5 to 8 years old. I'm coming in like 4 years late at least. And um, and my dad didn't know hockey. And then when, unfortunately, I got coached by a teammate of Don Lucia's, of Golden Gophers fame, and and I guess the rest is history. So
Yeah.
once you actually do learn the game, and you can, and and it's actually good for the kid. Sometimes I'll argue that, because you know I was a little bit pressured in baseball. I was awful at that,
Yeah.
and the parents, in 2006, where hockey's still not a traditional sport in
Right.
Maryland, and even though we had the Capitals in DC, we, it was not there, and and the Capitals were on the brink of moving twice, almost moved to Cleveland. It
Yeah.
still gave us that outlet of what we needed to
And
develop and just enjoy a game for the rest of our
and
lives.
interestingly enough, Adam, I coached enough youth in our lacrosse camps and so forth that a lot of our junior hockey players that played for the junior Sharks would come to our camps, and they were so skilled because of the hockey stick. So you have to remember, lacrosse is Canada's national sport. People think it's hockey. You can Google it. It's lacrosse. And why? Because it's North America's first sport. Well, the hand-eye coordination of hockey transfers over to lacrosse, no problem. Just about every Canadian who grew up playing hockey also played lacrosse. Why? Because it was a way to keep yourself in shape in the summertime. So you play hockey in the winter, you play lacrosse in the summer, and you can continue to play and keep your skills going. The indoor game, which is called box lacrosse, and that version of the game is prevalent in Canada. They call lacrosse in Canada the indoor game. They call it field lacrosse. We don't call it field lacrosse. We call it lacrosse. We call the indoor game box lacrosse. So if you watch box lacrosse in the NLL, it looks like hockey, but with sticks and a ball. The goalie has a big gear. The players move like hockey players, moving without the ball, set pick, so forth. But I think for the most part, the toughness and the accuracy and the hand-eye coordination is one of those things that kind of definitely transfers amongst the different sports.
Absolutely. And I did want to ask a question about the NLL.
Yeah,
There's no team in Baltimore or anything, and partially there's also no NHL arena in Baltimore. Never got a proper NHL arena for that, but still nothing there.
nothing.
And it's like this is the state's sport. This
It's
is our
it
state sport, and we don't have an NLL team or a PLL team.
yeah. Well, the PLL team you actually do. It's the Maryland Whip Snakes. So that's
Oh,
the outdoor version. So the PLL Maryland Whip Snakes, you do have a team and they play at Johns Hopkins every year. So, but the NLL, the indoor game, you're right. There is not a team. I think based on my quick geography, the closest team is Philadelphia. So the Philadelphia Wings, that what is that, 2.5, 3 hours away,
it's
something
like
like
th
that.
yeah, like 200 plus miles away.
Yeah, and maybe there's a Long Island team. I mean, well, actually, I think there was a Long Island team. You have to go up to Halifax, Canada, just to get a game from the NLL. It's interesting because they have a San Diego team, they have a Vancouver team, they have a Calgary, Canada team. But you're right. Why aren't they in Maryland? Why aren't they packing the what's it called, the Maryland Field House at the University of Maryland? They could pack that place, can't they?
It probably could do it at College Park, but Baltimore should be, the main hub, but
Yeah.
they didn't build an NHL arena. We got passed over so many times in Baltimore as well, but I'm happy that I have the Caps too.
There you go. Well, I'm happy we have the Sharks.
Yeah. Oh, man. And I'll say one thing, like, San Jose is, even though I've never been there, I just want Macklin Celebrini to just, succeed in the NHL because, you know, that when it's a good thing when the Cleveland Browns win at football, sort of thing. But with
Right.
Macklin Celebrini, he is the next generation. He is the next Sidney Crosby, to go and and possibly bring San Jose their first Stanley Cup. You
Yeah.
know, more than Thornton, more than Pavelski, more than Marlowe. I think that him and the coolest Will Smith in California have a good chance of doing it.
Well, we need a goalkeeper. That's what we really need to
You know,
to solidify this young guns.
I do think Askarov is good, though.
Yeah.
I do think he could be that guy.
Yeah, I hope so, because San Jose, as the prices of hockey go up, um, the stadium numbers have kind of come down. And I think that for our purposes of entertainment dollars, you want a team to win, and Macklin brings the excitement. So I'm hoping.
Especially in those 3-on-3s.
Oh,
Now,
yes.
now back to directing. Have you ever
Yeah.
directed any movies before this or any documentaries before this?
Well, I'm glad you asked. No. A lot of people say, when's the sequel coming out? I'm like, this took 7 years. Some people call it Hoosiers meets Hoop Dreams. The Mighty Oaks, film wise, was a hobby for me that turned into this documentary. And I say that from a point of view of I hired and was the executive producer. So I hired the director, I hired the director of photography, the editor. This is a real story that was trending on Apple this week. People are buying it on Apple TV, on Amazon Prime. I'm getting texts, I'm getting messages all the time that people love this movie. They love the story. They love the underdog. They are rooting for the Mighty Oaks. And it's a positive story amongst what's happening in the world. You have teenagers that are overcoming fears and failures and, things that have happened in their lives that they shouldn't have happened. And at the same time, it's an uplifting story. And by the end of it, you're on the edge of your seat rooting for the Mighty Oaks as if you're at a game.
Or, yeah. Oh, that's even, and it's just a documentary
Yes.
too, but
Because in today's world, you've got these docu-series and you've got a movie, but this documentary it tells real stories. It uncovers high school life, like nobody else sees. You don't see these kinds of movies being made because in today's world of TikTok and Instagram Reels and everything else, it's if you can't get somebody's attention in 13 seconds, they've lost, right? This is an hour and a half movie that takes you from the very beginning and understanding and building the characters and building the storyline. And the last 30 minutes, man, I'm telling you, you are on the edge of your seat rooting for the Acorns and the Mighty Oaks.
it, I've never seen a lacrosse movie before,
That's right.
and there was one movie I heard of a long time,
The Crooked
and I forgot
Arrows.
what.
Crooked Arrows,
That's the
2012.
film. That's the film. And it was like this weird film
Yes.
and it didn't make sense and it was not representative of what I saw on a lacrosse field. And I'm
Yeah.
like this is the best they have and now you have this of what a lacrosse team should be and the modern day life and
Yeah.
what the equipment looks like and it's just proper.
Yeah, it is. It's hard because we might be sitting here 10 years from now going, wow, the Mighty Oaks, that 10 years ago, that, blah, blah, blah. What I'm saying though is you're right, Adam, in that being able to show emotions of kids and coaches and parents and in a real humanizing way, it's just not, these stories aren't told like this anymore. And we really wanted to show you the spirit of the game, the lacrosse opportunities that are provided to people if you give them a chance.
Of course, of course. What else? So I don't know the entire rule base exactly. Like for example, how many players are allowed on the field for each um, team at a time, and how do they change? How do they transition? Is there a difference in changing from in box lacrosse versus
Yeah.
lacrosse?
Yeah. Field lacrosse, outdoor lacrosse, box lacrosse. I think that's where the lacrosse hierarchy is missing the boat. We need to get on the same page about promoting this game. But I think to answer your question, Adam, 9 players on the field, 2 goalies.
Okay.
Okay. So nine teams, 9 on each team. So 10 on the field total. Each side of the field, you have 6 players. Okay. So your
Okay.
offense has 6. If the ball goes back to your defense, you have 6 back there. So it's only 6 people on each side of the field. That's the way the outdoor game works. So if you think about it from a soccer point of view, you have attackmen, You have
Okay.
middies or midfielders, and then you have defensemen.
Okay.
So within those positions, you have specialty. If you're a left-handed attackman, you're probably the scorer. Just like in hockey, a left-handed attackman is a valuable asset. In lacrosse, same thing. The midfielders, they're the ones that run all day long. And they run forwards and backwards and they play offense and defense and it's a really, they're running a lot. And then the defense are the tough guys. Those are the guys that bring the lumber. And if you watch the movie, we like to bring the lumber, so you're going to see some good hits in there. And then the goalies, the outdoor field lacrosse goalies are crazy. They wear a helmet, they wear a chest protector, a protective cup, and that's it. That is it. And they have a stick to protect themselves. The way I always explain it to people that aren't familiar with lacrosse, imagine you're a baseball catcher and Orlando's Chapman is throwing a 105-mile-an-hour baseball, and you're the catcher and you don't know where it's going. You don't know what pitch he's throwing, and your job is to try to catch it.
Mm.
I mean, it is a crazy, crazy, crazy position. I mean, like no other. You get hit in the arm, you get hit in the leg, you got bruises. It's truly an amazing position on the field. Now, in the box lacrosse game, you got all the pads. They look like the Michelin Man. They look like a hockey goalie. So it's a lot different. But in the outdoor game, it's a 6-by-6 goal, and you have a lacrosse goalie that doesn't wear a lot of pads. So that's really the basics of the game. Now, I also mentioned to you that it's North America's first game. It's our oldest game, and it was played by the Native Americans to settle disputes, to settle land disputes, it was basically a game of war. And they would play this to the death, 3 and 4 day games. And the fields were, huge. And the Native Americans that still play this game, they call it the creator's game. And it's a way for them to get spiritually on the field and play for the creator. So it's a unique, it's not like an other sports where, you have this kind of history behind it.
Of course, of course. So, okay, so let me get this straight just so I
Yes,
can
go
have
ahead.
a good memory. So, 9 players on one side of the field for one team,
No,
or
six.
six, okay,
Six
six
on
on,
one half, six on the other half. But there's 9 players total from your team. 3 attackmen, 3 middies, 3 defense.
okay,
The middies play defense, the middies play offense. They go back and forth.
okay,
But the
uh,
attackmen and the defense stay where they are.
okay. Oh my God.
So think about it this way. Think about the blue line, right? In
Yeah,
hockey. Once you get on the blue line, everybody's involved in the game.
okay,
So if I put 3 defenders back by the goalie,
yeah,
that's what lacrosse would be like.
okay,
And the only 3 players from that people that are inside the blue line went
yeah,
back. That's what it really is.
okay, yeah. So, yeah, and in six, okay, 6 players on the field.
On the side of the field where the action is.
Okay, on the side of the field, supporting, and they can come in and change
Yes, on the fly, just like in
on the
hockey.
fly, just like hockey, but they don't have to jump over a bench and there's no.
No. In box they do. In box lacrosse they do have to jump over the because they play it on a hockey rink.
Oh,
So they have to jump over the boards.
yeah, but yeah, but you know, you also aren't changing every minute and change too. You could stay out
And
there for 5 minutes if you need
yeah,
to.
I think that so let's just go back to the outdoor game. The outdoor game, you're correct. The attackmen and the defense, they stay on their field pretty much the whole game. The midfielders are getting rotated when they get tired. So you'll see them play a minute, 2 minute, 4 minutes until they get tired and then they come off the field. Or if they're a specialty, so there's things called short stick D midfielders, there's offensive middies, there's long stick D middies. So there's lots of different positions within the positions. We don't need to get into that today, Adam, but just like in hockey or baseball, there's specialties of the game.
Of course.
Yeah.
Uh, let's see. Let's see here. What else am I? Um, I get how many um lacrosse seems to be more prevalent at most school at most schools um right now, most high schools, and I guess in pretty much all NCAA D1 schools. So there is no shortage, but do you think that there is also room to put it at more schools where aren't there are no NCAA lacrosse teams?
Well, the interesting thing about that, Adam, is very similar to hockey. Hockey has what, like 60 D1 hockey teams?
Uh, yeah, and we don't count Towson University. We don't count club teams,
No, I
unfortunately.
know. And so if we look at it from NCAA, we have about, let's call it 76, I think, lacrosse teams Division One. All of which, and I say all of which, except Denver and the University of Utah, are west of the Mississippi. I'm sorry, east of the Mississippi. So you take Pennsylvania, the state of Pennsylvania has 12 D1 teams. 12.
12?
Yeah. Within Philadelphia, there's like eight. It's like this is nuts to see that nothing in California except two Division two teams. So there's Concordia Irvine and there is Dominican. Those are the only two NCAA teams. In Idaho, just added another Division two team for the very first time. The College of Nazarene, I think, is what it's the name of it, and they're playing in the Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference. So there is a Division two kind of program out here, but the Division one is dominated by the East Coast. So
So
there's
wait,
lots of rooms to grow. Lots of room to grow.
not even UCLA men's has a lacrosse team, like
Yeah. So
even that.
so Adam, my son plays at UCLA, and it is a club team. So the MCLA has a stranglehold on all of the lacrosse programs, boys, inside of the western area. So, for example, UCLA plays USC, Chapman, San Diego State, Arizona State, and Grand Canyon. That's in their conference. Okay.
Yeah.
That MCLA program has been around for 25, 35 years. Where the NCAA comes in, it takes 25 million to get a lacrosse program started. The University of Michigan, they started their program from a club program. Ohio State now has a legitimate D1 top 10 team every year. Took them a long time to get there. So you take the opportunities like hockey, okay, and you say, all right, well, why is it that Quinnipiac has a hockey program and a lacrosse program at the
Money.
Division One level? Why is it? Well, the
It,
reason
it's
why
money.
is money.
Yeah.
Exactly. So if Joe Tsai, the billionaire from Alibaba that owns the San Diego Seals, that owns the Brooklyn Nets, and he owns a thing, if he decided that, hey, I want to start a build, he donated millions to Yale lacrosse. But if he wanted to put a conference out here in California, it would just blow up. It would be awesome. It would be amazing to create something like that in the sports world. But it takes money. Everybody's willing to spin up their own way. How he earned it and how he spends it is up to him. But gosh, it would be phenomenal for us to build a lacrosse conference on the West Coast, similar to what you have on the East Coast.
And I actually have seen on ESPN, University of Maryland, University Virginia Tech or Virginia, and and apparently they broadcast that. And even my family, who who none of my extended family has ever played lacrosse organized,
Yeah.
and I haven't. So none of us have done it. We've actually seen that, and they like watching it too.
Yeah, and you
It's
have
not
the Lacrosse
rushed.
Hall of Fame right there in Baltimore. You know, USA
Yeah.
Lacrosse is based out of Baltimore. So you're in it. You got to go. You got to enjoy it. Watch the movie, buy the movie, share the movie. The Mighty Oaks is a testament to growing the game from scratch. And Adam, I really appreciate you having me on the show. And if there's no more questions, I know this is going to sound crazy, but I've got a middle schooler that's playing basketball tonight that I got to go watch.
Okay. All right. Then I'll wrap it up here. I'll ask questions in the email. Your promotion link, you can send that to me. The Mighty Oaks, is that on Netflix? Is it on Hulu or where is it?
Yeah. I'm glad you mentioned the two that we're not on. We're on
Oh,
everything else. We're on Amazon Prime, we're on Apple TV, we're on YouTube movies, we're on Fandango at home. Anywhere you get your streamers with pretty much everything. If enough people buy it and download it and love it and share it, that's when Netflix will buy it.
okay. All right. So all right. Anything else you want to promote?
No, thank you so much, Adam. Appreciate your
Oh,
help and in sharing what I love, which is the Mighty Oaks and lacrosse and how it relates to your visitors with the hockey podcast.
okay. To all my listeners as well, check out the audiobook Growing Hockey. That's available wherever you get your audiobooks. The journal's there. Like, comment, share, and subscribe, all that jazz. Give me a 5-star rating if you think it's worth it. Share this with your friends and check out the Mighty Oaks documentary. And Brad, anything else?
Thank you so much, Adam. The Mighty
All right.
Oaks,
And with
the
that,
Mighty Oaks.
and with that being said, everyone, take care.